It was
Yeah.
about a 3 minute mistake I made. I forgot to push record.
Oh, really?
And funny enough, I was chatting to someone earlier about the fact that I don't have it automatically doing it now because
Right.
you end up having sometimes you have a 20-minute conversation with someone before you actually want to get into it.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Definitely.
it's chicken and egg, isn't it, to say the
It
least?
is. Definitely. Yeah. For sure.
Right, let me bring my notes up. They're not far away because I've done them all recently. So, okay. So, welcome everybody to the National Counties Cricket Show. And following the culmination of the NCCA trophy phase and going into the T20 phase, I'm really pleased to be joined today by one of the most consistent scorers, I think is the best way to put it, over the last few years. And joining us today, and he's had an interesting 4 games with the trophy, and we'll get to that. Got Mr. Sam Perry from Cheshire. How you doing, bud?
Very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolute
Not too
pleasure.
bad.
It's fair to say the trophy for Cheshire and you in particular, a little bit up and down,
I think
but
that's fair to say. That's for sure. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
through to the
So
quarterfinals.
we are. Yeah. We've got a tough trip up to Berkshire, um, which is which is exciting, and also it's going to be a bit of a test for the Cheshire boys. But yeah,
Hmm.
we're looking forward to it. So fingers crossed that we get over the line.
Got to start off looking back on the trophy and just ask what happened on day one to you lot. I was elsewhere looking at scores and it was like that can't be happening, surely.
It was a bit of a car crash for a day, I must admit. We were Cheshire are going through almost a bit of a rebuilding phase at the moment. We've got quite a different team to what we had last year. We've kind of lost quite a few experienced minor county cricketers. The likes of Rob Semi, Nick Anderson, Dave Wainwright's not playing white ball cricket anymore.
Hmm.
So we've kind of go through a little bit of a rebuilding phase. We're looking at some new players, and if I'm honest, we probably were just a little bit inexperienced. We played some rash shots. I thought Hertfordshire played, but they bowled brilliantly on a pretty. It looked a fantastic pitch, but it was a little slow. It did a little bit off the seam, and we just went too hard too early and
Yeah.
just lost too many wickets early days, early doors. And I think it can happen those games. And we spoke after the game, and we kind of thought we can go two ways here. We can dwell on it, we can think about it, or we can move on and look at our season from last year, especially in the 50 over competition,
Yeah.
which we have done. And obviously, winning the remaining 3 games was a big plus for us.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think one of the most remarkable things about your group in the end was you lost your first game and then won three back to back. But Hertfordshire, who bowled you out for 68, won that game and never won another one themselves.
Well, I know it's surprising, isn't it? Looking at it at the end of the group stage, but
Mm.
they looked a really good team. They had some good opening bowlers. They had a good left arm spinner. Their
Hmm.
opening batters were looked fantastic, looked really solid. So it was a surprise to see them finish so low. So that's for sure. Yeah, but
Yeah, definitely.
we were delighted to get over the line and finish those remaining 3 games with 3 wins.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had the pleasure of being with the Hertfordshire lads over at Wales National County the week after, and they lost a very tight game there. And you're right. I mean, you didn't see even anything that day that made you think they were going to lose the next couple of games as well. And it went from one extreme of the other of winning easily to just not getting even close to going through for those boys.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the problem with our that first game. That our run rate was I think it was -4 or something like that, and we were even in that Dorset game at the end. We were calculating what we needed to bowl them out for to finish top of the group,
Yeah.
but that was where we just played so poorly on that first day that we couldn't even focus on that. We just wanted to get through the group stages.
Absolutely. But you ended up in second place in the group behind Dorset. You did look strong through the group stage. Yeah, you're through. At the end of the day, the quarterfinals is a draw at the end of the day, isn't it? It's not like you've got to be in it first or second for any reason apart from a home time, potentially.
Yes, yes. And obviously we faced Berkshire again, who we beat at home last year in the semi-final. So fingers crossed that we can repeat that performance and get through to the semi-final again.
Yeah, I think that was the big shock for me, seeing Norfolk get beat on day one, seeing you guys get beat
Yeah,
on day one. You're like, what's going on here? Has the NCCA world changed? Because as you say, a lot of the teams have got some players who just stopped playing minor counties cricket, haven't they now?
yeah, yeah. I think some people do that. They choose to go separate ways, and it's a big shame for us to lose the likes of Rob, who was at the top of the order, who was a fantastic player for Cheshire for so many years, and then also Nick Anderson, vastly experienced with both bat and ball, and captain Cheshire for many games. So to lose that experience from the side was definitely a big hit for us.
Hmm.
But it does give younger players a good go. which is a big, it'll be a positive future for Cheshire, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I think we needed to have a little bit of a rebuilding phase. But yeah, we're looking in good shape.
Even more annoying to lose the likes of Semi and Anderson when you see what they're doing in Premier League cricket on a Saturday still. And
Yeah.
Nick had a fantastic innings a couple of weekends ago, didn't you? Like, you can still do it, the old boy, can't he?
Oh, he definitely can. Yeah, we Oldley Edge play them on Saturday, so hopefully they don't do as well on Saturday. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's have a quick look around the rest of the trophy groups and see what pick caught your eye while you've been out and about. I'm sure, like most cricketers, you're always keeping an eye on what's going on elsewhere.
Try my best.
You try, yeah, there's always something, isn't there? Yeah, we look at Group One, where Cambridgeshire and Northumberland have gone through. Northumberland got off to a flyer; they were playing really well. Ross Whitfield, in particular, I think he's in the
Yeah.
second in the MVP standings. Bit of a surprise for me. You tell me, Cumbria not even getting close to getting through there.
Cumbria are a very good side. We've played against them a number of times over the last couple of years, and they've got some great players. The likes of Freddie Fallows is a fantastic cricketer. And it's definitely a surprise. But I think looking at the Northumberland games and their results, they've got some really aggressive batters in
Yeah,
particular. And they can take the game away from anybody.
yeah.
And obviously Ross Whitfield joining them, leaving Durham a couple of years ago, or he's a good cricketer as well. So they've got a really strong batting lineup. So they're capable of beating anyone on their day.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been around NCCA cricket for a little while now, but are you seeing this change in the way people are going about these? You can see, I think you can see it in the scores in particular. There does seem to be a lot more aggression in that first innings from everyone.
I agree with that. I think the weather's helped. The pitches are obviously good at this time of year,
Hmm.
and the outfields are absolutely rapid, so it's obviously improved the scores. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think so. I think that was one of our big. That was a clear message set by Harry Dearden last year, who captained Cheshire.
yeah.
We want to be really positive. We want to take the game to the opposition,
Hmm.
and if we can put up scores of 300 plus, and all it takes is one batter to get 100 and a couple of guys to strike at 150 or plus or more,
Yeah.
you can easily get above that 300 score. And obviously anything above 350, if you bat first, is a really tricky chase.
Mm.
So that was definitely our message that I wanted to carry through from Harry's reign last year. So definitely, I think it's important to be aggressive, but it's also important to bear in
Not
mind
do what you did at Hertfordshire.
well, I was just going to say that, yeah, we probably got it wrong the first game, and we went a little bit too hard and lost too many cheap wickets. And you need to have a little bit of reserve as well to work out what's a good score, and you kind of work that way through the innings, and we try and score 75 plus in the power play. But if
Yeah,
you're 35 for one, that's not an issue because you've got 9 wickets left, and
yeah.
you can easily score bulk runs in that last 15 overs. So it's just reassessing
Mhm.
throughout the innings. That's what we've tried to say to our lads this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think you picked up on Northumberland and their batting lineup, but apart from Berkshire, Northumberland are the only other county with two players in the top 10 batters.
Yeah.
That says it. Alistair Appleby and Ross Whitfield in the top 10,
Hmm.
and Johnny Connell and Reese Lewis in the top 10 from Berkshire. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, they've all got one thing in common. They all hit the ball very hard, and they're young batters who are just, they go at it, don't they?
They do, yeah, they do. Johnny Connell's a fantastic cricketer. We've played against them over the years so many times, and he's a very good cricketer. And I only played against Reese Lewis once last year in the semi final, and he played an outstanding innings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit frightful to play against them opening the batting, but we'll be all right. We'll get them early doors.
Absolutely. Looking at Group Two from this season, the holders Norfolk, boom, gone. Won one game, lost three. Didn't see that with that squad in particular. And a
Mhm.
lot of their players have been doing really well on a Saturday in Premier League cricket as well. That was a real shock seeing them disappear so quick.
It's a funny thing, Saturday cricket and then Sunday cricket.
Yeah.
It's it's tricky to the travel times are always tricky. If you play all day Saturday, you have a good game on Saturday. You travel down late at Saturday night. Sometimes you don't prepare as well as you should do for minor county cricket when players are arriving late and you're up early, staying hotels, and it doesn't sometimes it doesn't quite work as well as you'd like.
Yeah.
But that is, yeah, it's definitely a surprise to see those guys because they were fantastic in the final last year. Full credit to them. They outplayed us on the day. So that's, yeah, it is definitely a surprise to see them not go through.
Yeah, and I think in that group, I mean, that group for anyone who's listening, Shropshire won it, Suffolk, Herefordshire, Staffordshire, and Norfolk. Historically, Norfolk won it last year. Staffordshire are one of the big boys, inverted commas.
Mm.
And you'd say Herefordshire, Suffolk, and Shropshire would have not be regarded as the big boys, but Shropshire unbeaten.
For a good team, yeah, they've improved over the years dramatically.
Yeah.
We play them on Sunday in the T20s, and we've definitely got to take into account their quality because they have got some seriously good players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the thing about minor county cricket. From one year to the next, you're not 100% sure on who's going to be playing. You've got
Yeah.
young cricketers potentially playing second team cricket in the week,
Hmm.
trialing around, or even playing first class cricket. So you're not always sure what teams are going to look like, especially early doors.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can get a little bit of an idea when you play. Obviously, the 50 over started this year, so for the T20s, we'll have a little bit of a better idea. But you're always not 100% sure on who's going to be playing. So you've got to be honest, and you've got to reassess on the day and go from there. Yeah,
Yeah, you're all looking at Twitter on a Thursday and Friday, seeing what squads have been put out there, going, "Where's he come from all of a sudden?" And
definitely.
who's brought in that that outsider that we didn't know about.
Yeah,
That's what's happening, isn't it? Sometimes, to be fair, George Hargrave, top of the order for Shropshire,
yeah,
he's the number one man for them, isn't he?
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, he's another good player, very good player. And we played against him a couple of years ago in the 50 over stuff, and he's a very good cricketer. So they've, as I said before, they've got some good players, and it's no surprise to see them qualify
Yeah,
because I know they have improved over the years. In the
yeah.
last 5 years, they've definitely gone through a little bit of a rebuilding phase, similar to Cheshire this year.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's no surprise to see them qualify so well. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think what impressed me with Shropshire in particular is they've won three of the games chasing and just one game where they batted first. When they batted first, they only scored 262 against Norfolk. But
mm.
then when they've chased and won down, they've actually chased 213, 200, sorry, 235. They haven't gone with big numbers, but they've actually been able to keep people's runs down, basically, which, when we talk about those 300s, nobody's been getting close to that in that group.
No, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because if you look at the other groups, 300 scores have been pretty common this year.
Yeah.
So obviously that suggests they've got a good bowling lineup and they feel confident chasing anything that they can defend,
Yeah.
that they can set. Sorry, so yeah, it'll be a tough task for Cheshire on Sunday. Potentially we'll have to stick them in then if they don't like if they're pretty good at chasing.
Absolutely. Now, looking at Group Three, though, the opposite effect, where you've got the big hitters at Berkshire, as you say, you're going to be coming up against them in the quarter final. Yeah, you must have been looking from the outside in at the weekend, seeing them chasing down 327 over at Devon, thinking, yeah, they're still at it. They might have changed the coach, there might be a few new faces, but they're still Berkshire.
They are still Barsha, that's for sure. Yeah, I try and not look at the scores too much when we're playing. Try and concentrate on our own game and look at the team that we play against next. But yeah, they're a fantastic team. They've got vastly experienced players. They've got some fantastic cricketers. As I mentioned, Johnny Connell's a very good cricketer. Dan Lincoln, obviously captain for many years. So they've got some very experienced players. So it'll be a big test for us. But we look forward to those big tests. You play cricket to enjoy and for the entertainment. So playing against the best team is not always the worst thing. It sometimes brings the best out of you. So which
Absolutely.
certainly happened at Oldley Edge last year. So
Something you can't do anything about, but and Richard Logan will forgive me, hopefully, for asking this question. This weekend, you play the T20, you start the T20s, and then the following week,
yeah,
go back to quarter-final 50 overs.
yeah.
With the bit of momentum that you've built up after the last three games, we'll forget that first one now. Do you wish you could just keep going at that 50s?
Yeah, but I think it's also important to carry that momentum through T20s as well. We play Shropshire this week, and if we beat Shropshire back to back in those two fixtures, then that'll give us even more confidence and momentum moving forward. We have got a little bit of a different side for the T20s, so that might also give us some more options moving forward. And I think our message is still going to be the same. We want to be nice and positive through the 50 overs, through our 50 over batting overs. So that's not going to change for the T20s. We want to be really positive and we want to try and set big scores.
Yeah.
And we feel really confident with our bowlers that we can defend anything that we score. And vice versa, we've got a really deep batting lineup. So if we do have to bowl first, then we feel confident that we can chase anything as well. And I think that's just the message that I want to set. It's just be really positive to the lads.
Most definitely. I think one of the standout players for you, for me, from the T20 last year, one of the standout innings was Kev Carroll. And when you got him batted at seven in some cases, that's deep, isn't it, to have Kevin Carroll coming at seven?
Vin's brilliant, yeah. He, as a captain, he's the best cricketer I can have because if we go through a little bit of a tricky phase, I can stick him in and try and counter attack. If we go through a brilliant phase, he can whack it and get 50 off 20 balls. So he's a great character. He's very enthusiastic. He's a good fielder. So he's an absolute joy to captain, I must admit. So he's a very good cricketer, and hopefully he'll carry on. He's not had the best 50 over competition so far.
No.
But for someone like him, all it takes is one innings, and he can fire. And we ultimately, if he comes off, we're 9 times out of 10, we're going to win that game.
Yeah, most definitely.
So
Let's talk about your 50 over campaign though so far, because it is quite unique, I think, isn't it, to know that in two innings for you personally, you've got ducks. In particular, last weekend you got a goldie.
yeah,
But then you had 61 away at Wiltshire, and you had that ridiculously good 176 at home to Wales. So from having 176, I think it was not out as well, wasn't it?
no, I was run out.
Oh, you run
Yeah,
out with it. So
yeah, I was run out. Unfortunately,
from
yeah.
hitting 176 one week to a goldie the week after, I mean, what does that do to your head?
Oh, to be honest with you, it's not done a lot to my head. My goldie was a short wide one, hit it straight to point, so there's not much I can technically look at. But I'll definitely think about it moving forward. But yeah, the 170 to then obviously a goldie. I think I still try and keep in my mind kind of the score I had 2 weeks ago, and just think about that. And I feel like I'm in a quite a good run of form at the moment.
Yeah.
So just trying to be nice and positive, as I said previously, and he's just playing my game. I know I'm capable of playing a high standard cricket, playing I can get hundreds in minor county cricket. So I know that deep down that I can carry on that form, and yeah, just carry on and hopefully get another big score around the corner.
Yeah, I think it was fascinating watching the scores coming in over the weekend and seeing you get a goldie while Dan Newton scoring a ton up the front with you. Then seeing your wicketkeeper, who, for those who don't know, is George Lavelle, Lancashire.
Yeah.
He got bugger all as well. You're like, the two of the big hitters, effectively, in terms of runs, got nothing. But as you say, you had batted all the way down to Kevin Carroll at seven, and everyone chipped in along the way then, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we've tried to create. We tried to create a deep batting lineup, and we've got loads of all rounders within our side. So if one person doesn't get you, hopefully somebody else will. And going back to Dan Newton, he played absolutely fantastically well. He's another one who's a young cricketer. Is going to be part of the Cheshire future, and I was really pleased to see him do so well because he's a very very good cricketer, and he's reaped his rewards because he started. He played for Sale a couple of years ago, then moved to Lindo, and Lindo got promoted this year, and
Yeah.
they're in the Premier League now. And we played against them a couple of weeks ago, and he batted really impressively. And I was fielding, I was watching him, and he's calm, composed. He hits the ball hard. He runs well between the wickets.
Yeah.
So he really impressed me. And that weekend we had a change in team. So I said to him, "You're going to open tomorrow." He's never opened the batting before, and he didn't have the best first game, but he certainly reaped his rewards in the second game.
Yeah, and thankfully, then you'd scored a big score anyway on Sunday. But Michael Finnan 6 for 46. We don't see many six fors and more in NCCA cricket, so that was pretty special, wasn't it?
Mike's fantastic. Yeah, he's capable of swinging the ball both ways, and he can bowl absolutely rapid. So he's certainly nice having you in your team because you can throw in the ball at any moment. If the game's going well, he can clear up the tail. But he also, if the game's going badly, he's going to get good players out, and he
Mm.
creates something. Mike, he doesn't bowl the same ball 6 balls in a row. He tries different things, which is fine. But he creates wickets, he creates pressure, and he's fantastic to have in the team. And I think he only played two out the four games,
Yeah.
and I think it was a big plus having him in that game after we lost to Hertfordshire because we
Mhm.
bounced back pretty well and he bowled pretty well that day. So yeah, he's trialing with Yorkshire at the moment as
Yeah.
well. So wish him well. But he's a good cricketer. Yeah, yeah. And he hit some sixes down the bottom of the order as well.
Trialing with Yorkshire, but will he be back for the T20s?
He's not available this weekend. Just a little hint there, but hopefully he'll be back soon. Yeah,
Yeah, because somebody who hits the deck hard and can make it go both ways, got T20 written all over it.
yeah, it does. And I think when we got to the finals day a couple of years ago, he was absolutely fantastic and he was crucial to us getting to the final.
Mhm.
But fingers crossed he'll be back and we'll get him in the team.
Absolutely. Quite uniquely, 8 quarter finalists for a week on Sunday on June the 1st. Every one of you has won the trophy at some point. And I
Oh,
find that quite remarkable that all of you know, okay, Berkshire have won it 8 times. Yeah,
yeah.
we're not counting. Yeah, but every single one of these counties have won it before. So what would it mean to Cheshire to not just get through to the final, as you did last year, but actually go all the way this time?
Made a lot. It would have made a lot for Cheshire, yeah. Obviously getting to the final last year and losing, and we were quite confident leading into that final. I think in the lead up to it, I think we'd scored 300 plus in four out of the six, I think, something like that. So we were very confident, and our bowlers, we've got some good depth in the bowling department. So we were very confident that going into that final. And it was a big loss for us, especially because we knew a couple of the lads weren't going to play this year.
Mm.
Um, so they took it pretty hard. So yeah, it would definitely mean a lot, and also going through our rebuilding phase and focusing more on the younger cricketers coming through. I think it would be a big plus for Cheshire, and it would just highlight the strength in the Premier League. I've played in the Cheshire Premier League now for 10 years, and I think it's the strongest year in terms of every team
Hmm.
that I've probably played in.
Okay.
So we've got some good depth, and I do think it would mean a lot. It would mean a lot for Cheshire to win it this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that going through a transition as you are with players in particular, that makes all the difference. But I mean, did you have that? I've got to ask, did you have that conversation with probably not Mr. Semi because I know his work was getting in the way. Did you have that conversation with Anderson and say, come on, you need to go one more year after that now?
I must admit, no, I didn't. I was only asked the captain halfway through the winter, and definitely spoke to Rob. And I asked him, "Do you want to play for Cheshire this year?" And he said, "Probably not." So yeah, I asked Rob, but I think it was time for those guys to give their spot up and give it to some other players and give them opportunities.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's really important looking forward because if we carried on with this older team, the likes of I'm 25, Harry Dearden's 27, 28, those types of characters who have played quite a few years. If we all
Yeah.
stopped at the same time, I think it would be not the best for Cheshire cricket, and I think our performances probably would dip in those couple of years. So I
Yeah.
do think it's important to try and get those guys in as early as possible and give them as much experience as possible.
And
Yeah,
utilising the rules so all the way that you can. The 8 players come to a total of 200 years old. You being
yeah.
average age 25 yourself now, yeah, you do need to bring some of those young ones through anyway.
You do, yeah, you do, and we have had that issue. We had that issue the first week, where we couldn't field a certain player because the team was too old. But we've got a really good core at the moment. We've got Xander Selby's only 22. We've got some young cricketers who are playing every week, and that's what we want to try and create. We want to reward people who are going to be available and put Cheshire first.
Yeah.
So the likes of Max Laws come in, Dan Newton's young. So we want to try and say to lads, we want you to play, and if you are available and you're going to put the work in and give up whatever you're doing on a Sunday, we're going to reward that and say you're going to be playing every week. So that's one of our key messages as well.
How much fun do you have as a captain having those conversations about playing on a Sunday NCCA versus national knockouts and things like that?
Yeah, I must admit, not a lot of fun with having that conversation. I personally don't mind players playing club cricket in the national. I think it's important for those clubs, if they're going to enter the national, they need to put the full strength team out to win it, because it's such a difficult competition to win. So I'm very happy for players to play for their local club in the national. But then I also want to reward people who say, I'm going to play for Cheshire, I'm going to put Cheshire first.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep the balance there. I'm trying to be I'm not trying to be too strict.
It's the worst position in the world trying to have those conversations, whether you're a coach or a captain. And it's a balancing act, to say the least. And I'm sure there's 19 other skippers around the NCCA who have exactly the same issues when it comes to national competitions, because they do clash, unfortunately, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Harry Dearden has been a big help for me this year because obviously he captained the 50 over stuff for Cheshire last year, and we've got a great relationship. So I can pick up the phone to him and I can give him a rant for 15 minutes on the phone. But he's pretty level headed and he'll just say that's how it is, unfortunately, and move on. So yeah, it's just one of those things you got to deal with as captain.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this weekend. We've already touched on it. T20s get underway. Your first, have you played any club T20 yet?
No.
So this
Not
is your
yet.
first T20 away you go. How excited is it for you to get that going? Because let's be honest, you didn't overperform last year to Cheshire in the T20s, did you?
No, not at all. No, I think we were struck with the weather a little bit as well. We missed a handful of games,
Yeah.
so it was disappointing from our perspective last year. I think that gave us more motivation moving forward to the 50 over competition.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's really exciting. I previously liked to play the T20s first because I could go out there and bish it, try and whack it around,
Yeah.
and not try and worry about my technique and my big front pad. So so yeah, but it's really exciting to look forward to the T20s, and it's an exciting format of the game. It gives everybody a go, and it gets more people into it as quickly as possible. So yeah, it's we're looking forward to it. We're definitely looking forward to it.
And who do you see in the T20s around the rest of the NCCA as the main contenders?
Yeah, I think a lot of our I think we don't try and focus too much around the NCCA from a Cheshire perspective. If you
Hmm.
look at Staffordshire, they've got some big hitters. I think they won it a couple of years ago with Nils Priestley hit it miles,
Okay.
and they've got Liam Hurt as well. But then also look at Cumbria around the corner as well, and Freddie Fallows whacks it a mile as well. And Shropshire obviously not lost a game in the 50 over competition yet.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of work to do to try and get through the group stage. But then if you look at around the NCCA, you look at the likes of Berkshire, Oxfordshire, those types of teams have always got a fantastic opportunity to win it.
Yeah, definitely. When Oxfordshire pull the rabbit out of hat and make a certain Mr. Harrison Ward their white ball skipper, T20 is his game. He's going to be using the T20 to warm up for the Blast, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he is. He's another person who hits it miles. So hopefully, don't come across him till later on in the competition. But yeah, it's an exciting format of the game, and I think the scores this year will be pretty high, considering the weather's been fantastic and the
Yeah.
pitches are pretty flat at the moment. So it's definitely a competition to keep your eye on.
And that's definitely talking to Richard Logan a few weeks ago. That's one of the things he said, that we think, especially the way the weather's been, it's going to help massively. Not having the T20 in April and May,
Yeah.
leaving it until a bit later. We're going to have harder pitches. Even if you get a bit of weather around, the pitches are still going to be better in the first place, and we will get those higher scores. And it'd be nice to see those 150s, 180s, 200s rather than those. It's nice to see a tight 120 game, but actually, that's not what people go to watch, is it?
No, it's not. No, I think I'd prefer to go and watch a 120 played a 121 game, knocking it off in the 19th, 20th over. That would be exciting for me.
Hmm.
I think it'll be interesting to see the scores comparisons from the 50 over stuff
Yeah.
last year, obviously in the middle of the year, and then also the T20 stuff at the start of the year.
Hmm.
I think that'll be really interesting to see the score comparisons and potentially even wickets as well. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting competition. That's for sure.
And you got,
Sorry.
just looking at what Cheshire have got ahead of you in that, you've got Shropshire at the weekend. You then follow up with it. You get your week off on the 8th of June. The
Yeah.
15th, you get what I personally describe as the derby. It is Cheshire versus Staffordshire. That's the big one for you guys. And it's at Nantwich, which is a great ground for you guys. You always get a good crowd at Nantwich as well, don't you?
We do, yeah, we do. Nantwich is another fantastic cricket ground. It's quite short, straight. We played Staffordshire there a couple of years ago, and the weather beat us on one occasion. And the other game was a fantastic game.
Hmm.
So yeah, usually we get quite a few people down to watch at Nantwich, and we always enjoy playing there. Yeah, we've had some good results there in the past.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's one of the great Cheshire cricket grounds to play at, and people come and sit on all the benches, and it's quite an enclosed cricket ground.
It
So
is, yeah.
yeah, people, you feel like you're standing on top of someone's shoes when you're fielding on the boundary.
And then from one extreme to the other, Cumbria are dragging you all the way to Barrow. Now that's a long way for you lot to be going up on a Saturday night for Sunday morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long way. Yeah, I'm not going to look forward to doing that trip. But yeah, Cumbria, they're another rival of ours, so hopefully the lads will be up for it that day, and we get some couple of hours sleep, and we do them the next day.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I'm really fascinated with this year with the T20 in particular is we've got the finals day back at Wormsley. We've swapped them round from Wormsley, whereas last year it was up at Chester Boughton Hall.
Yeah.
But the fact that the boys completely lost it at Chester Boughton Hall because of the weather last year, it's one of those things that we can't do anything about in this country. But Wormsley's a bit special to go and play a final at, isn't it?
Wormsley's incredibly special, yeah. I've actually applied to play an NCCA game at Wormsley this year, which I've got onto purely because I played there last year and enjoyed it so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a very special place to go and play cricket. Yeah, it's fantastic. My parents loved coming to watch that game and walking around the boundary and taking in the sights. So that'll be a great day.
And for you guys at Cheshire, having been to Wormsley last year and been on the wrong end of a result, getting back there for finals day would be perfect.
Yeah, we want to be back at Wormsley, that's for sure, and hopefully standing on the steps and lifting up the trophy, whether that be the 50 over or the T20 trophy. Yeah, it will be a special occasion that at Wormsley.
Well, the 50 over finals at Chester Boughton Hall, I mean, it doesn't get any
Or
more
is
lucky
it?
for you guys, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll talk to some of the lads and speak
Now
about
that's it. Yeah,
that.
now that's an interest because especially with Chester Boughton Hall being literally one of the best tracks in the northwest, as
Yeah,
far as I'm concerned.
yeah,
The early season numbers at Chester have been huge.
yeah, they have.
From a 50 over perspective, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, that's mainly due to Alex Money, Cheshire number three. He's a very good cricketer, and he's piling on the runs this season, which is great to see. Um, so yeah, that'll be Chester's a fantastic place to play cricket. A little bit of a slope, but it races down towards the nets.
Mhm.
Good bouncy pitch. So hopefully it'll be a good. Hopefully the sun shines and it'll be a good day's cricket.
Without a doubt. Hey, great to catch up, Sam, and talk all things 50 over and what's happening with the T20 coming forward. We'll be keeping close eye on all the results at the weekend. Yeah, as you said, be intriguing just to start to balance out what's cracking off T20 versus T50 number. I'm sorry, the 50 over numbers, won't it? Because our Barks are going to go and try and score 250. Yeah, because you can see it, can't you? That's what they're going to do.
They're more than capable of doing it.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're capable of doing what you guys did and get bowled for 68. Yeah, it can happen.
Can happen. That's cricket for you.
It is definitely. It's great to see you, Sam.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.